Hi, my name is George Prout, and I'm Chief Marketing Officer for Gems One. And I'm here today taping a video for you concerning the 16-page Christmas flyer. Now, we do a lot of different 16 pages. We do a tremendous number of different versions. I'm going to be going through what we consider kind of the core generic version. So it may not be exactly what your flyer is, but it's going to have all the key products that your flyer contains. At the outset, let me just describe a little bit to you of what I do so you'll understand why I'm probably the right person to do this. For starters, one of my roles is to run our global product development teams. We actually have multiple teams all over the world designing, creating, just making all kinds of cool stuff. And I get to work with some very, very talented people in this regard. Then I also am the person who actually makes the final selections of the products that go into the flyers. I also am the person responsible for how to merchandise those products. Like, do we make it in 14 karat or 10 karat? Which diamond quality do we use? Do we make it in sterling silver? All of this with an eye towards what's the ultimate retail price point that we want to hit? Because ultimately what drives consumer response is something called perceived value. And my job is to make sure that we've got a lot of look for small bucks, because ultimately consumers want quality, but they want a lot of bang for the buck. So it's very important as we merchandise these pieces that they represent that in the flyers. And then finally, I'm also responsible for paginating the flyers. And by that, I mean not just picking the stuff, but also figuring out where it's going to go so that there is a story that's being told as we move through the flyer as a consumer. I want to make sure that story is a compelling one. So let me shift over and actually pull up the 16-page flyer. And there we have it. And then let me just do one other adjustment. This will allow us to see the flyer a little bit better with a dark background. There we go. Okay, so here again is our core basic 16-pager. Now, at the outset, what goes on the front page is terribly important because there's a 50% chance that the front page is going to be the first thing that a consumer sees. And what's on this front page is going to determine whether or not they open up to see what is in the rest of the flyer. So it's very, very important for us to put the right stuff on. Another thing I'll tell you is, while it's not necessary for a store to stock everything in our catalogs, over and over again, what we see is the front page pieces and the back page pieces are the pieces that lead sell-through. So it's incredibly important that we put the right stuff here. So let's start right in the middle here with item 1A, 1B, and 1C. We know a couple of things. We know that oval shapes in general are selling extremely well in the marketplace and have been for at least the past 12 months. So actually about 18 months ago, I challenged one of our divisions to produce something for me that had a central cluster that was round, but then in some way conveyed an oval shape. And after lots of trial and error, we came up with what we think is an extremely compelling style that people are going to like. For the center part, this circular cluster, we're actually using CNC machines to create a metal cap that we then drop the diamonds into. The camera kind of picks up the notches in between the diamonds, but when you actually look at the piece live, just looks like one huge scintillating, sparkling diamond. It's an amazing look for the price. You should also know that I track the data from about 1,100 stores who report their sales information to a consultancy called the Edge Retail Academy. And over the last 18 months, I've seen actually a competitor's product that's made in a similar way just shoot up the charts to become one of the better selling items in the 1,100 stores that the Edge Retail Academy tracks. So we have made our own version of this, and in candor, we think is slightly better. And so this is the product that we refer to as Star Bright, and it shows up inside the flyer multiple times. But I wanted to put this on the front because I really think this is going to be an important design. Then if we move over, that's 1A, 1B, 1C. If we move over to 1D and 1F and 1E, that's the Love Crossing piece. Last year I had heard murmurs in midsummer that one of the majors was doing something interesting and they were going to put a ton of money behind it. And sure enough, on October the 27th, I was in that store, actually in Evansville, Indiana. I was on the road at the time. And when the box arrived, the district manager was in that store. She was very excited. I had identified myself not as a consumer, but as a investor. I indicated that I owned a fair amount of K's stock, and I was curious about what was going to be hot for this Christmas and what K's was doing. And of course, she spent a half an hour telling me all about it. It was wonderful. So we were able to determine with our intellectual property attorneys that we could make a very similar item. And so this piece became the number one selling SKU in the 1,100 Edge Retail Academy stores last Christmas. The major then continued to advertise it at Valentine's Day, then advertised it again at Mother's Day. And then about 7 weeks ago, started a significant social media campaign that then culminated with this. Let me just show you on the front cover of their digital catalog. Let's see. I'm sorry, I just need to switch over to my browser for a second. So here's the K's website, and here is the front cover of their holiday gift guide. I can also tell you that they started a significant TV campaign just this past week featuring these pieces again. So we know this is going to be a heavily advertised piece. So the reason this item is on the front cover of your flyer is because I know that men, particularly those who are watching NFL football games, are going to see this item advertised over and over and over again. And I know sometime probably around the 10th or the 12th of December, they're going to start coming into jewelry stores and they know they need to buy something and they have absolutely no clue what to buy. But the fact that they've seen these ads over and over and over again is going to make them predisposed to say yes if you suggest this item. And I would also say that if you are female and if your store owner chooses to let you wear one of these pieces so that it appears that you're personally endorsing it, this is a fantastic trend item. Those of you who were in the industry back in the late 1990s will remember Three Stone. Three Stone was an incredible trend, and whoever sold the most Three Stones on the front end of that trend benefited in a huge way, because over the course of the subsequent 2 or 3 years, their friends came back into the store where they got it. So again, if your store is promoting this double heart design and you put it on enough consumers' necks, you're probably going to have a lot of success selling it the next couple of years. I should tell you, my wife owns a jewelry store, and we made a significant investment advertising this piece last Christmas. We had billboards all over the town where we live with it, and we've got them up again this year. And because we want to dominate this, we know that this is an important category, and I want to make sure that as the big box store continues to advertise it, that we get the lion's share of the sales. So anyway, Love's Crossing is an important SKU, and you'll see it showing up again in other parts of the book. So as we continue through the book, we then move down to item 1G and 1J. These are important for a couple of reasons. First, they're yellow gold. This is the beginning of us shifting diamond cluster pieces back into yellow. We've seen a shift towards yellow over the last 18 months, and it started to manifest itself more and more. But there's also an interesting story behind these. I was actually normally every year I go to the Hong Kong show. That's how I'm able to confirm in March what the trend items are going to be. There's no better place to go than Hong Kong. You spend a week there. It takes me 2 full days just to walk that show. And then I spend the next 5 days in meetings with various suppliers, because everybody wants to sell us. We're probably the 3rd largest supplier of diamond jewelry to independents in the United States. So there are a lot of international companies, particularly the site holders. Those are the companies that buy their diamonds direct from De Beers, cut them, and then supply jewelry to the majors as well. So anyway, I couldn't go to Hong Kong this last year because of COVID, because the Hong Kong show was killed. So instead, I chose to fly with one of my internal people, Amit, who is just a fantastic person to travel with. And he's the person who actually runs our internal production. So between the two of us, it makes for a good team. I'm pretty good at the big picture stuff, and he's really good at the detail stuff. So we make a good team doing this. But anyway, we were over in India in Seeps. That's that special area in Mumbai where almost all the site holders are located and almost all the jewelry manufacturing takes place. And during this period, this was when COVID was really starting to hammer China. And the Chinese manufacturers were starting to kill their orders. They'd placed production orders for diamonds, but they were now canceling. So the site holders were sitting on diamonds. And we were actually shown a series of parcels at probably 30 to 35% below normal market value. And Amit and I agreed at that point, hey, let's take advantage of some of these opportunistic buys and translate them into incredible values at your level. So these two pieces are part of this grouping that we're calling irresistible values, where, you know, a 1 carat total weight in 14 karat gold, really nice diamonds at a stupid low price of $11.99 retail. We think that's highly motivational. We think that's something that's going to get the attention of consumers. So anyway, that's the backstory for those two pieces. Then if we come back up to the northwest corner of the page, this is one of those 3-row bands that we actually put in the line about 18 months ago, and they have sold more and more and more as the majors have adopted them. One company in particular has been promoting the heck out of this look, and our sell-through data have been fantastic. So I chose to actually put that up there. We actually stock it in multiple total weights. In this case, I chose to put the 1/2 carat total weight at $8.99 and the 1 carat total weight at $14.99. One of the things you will see running through this book is me attempting to give married couples something to buy to memorialize this incredibly weird year. You know, most of you have seen amazing sales of engagement rings, June, July, August, September, and October. And that's because unmarried couples who were traumatized by the events of the shutdown in March, April, and the first half of May seem to have spontaneously come to the same conclusion. It's time to get engaged. It's time to formalize our relationship. I think some of that same emotional path has also been taken by married couples who also, by the way, were unable to spend what they normally spend on travel, particularly people with significant discretionary income. So I suspect that this December, you're going to see a disproportionate number of sales in diamond bands, the kinds of things that confirm and reaffirm the relationship that that married couple has. So that's another reason that that piece is on the front cover. If we then move directly over to item 1P, this is the classic journey, what we in the industry call the squiggle pendant. This last July, I started hearing whispers that, again, one of the majors was making arrangements with its suppliers to take back aged inventory and turn it into various versions of Journey. So in anticipation of the fact that there would be significant advertising around both this kind of look as well as this, as well as the storyline associated with Journey, at the last minute, I made the decision to put this in. It's a classic necklace. It's a beautiful design. It hasn't been promoted for 15 years, but I can tell you, we've already seen, in the case of both Jared and Zales, the beginnings of their advertising of Journey looks. I suspect that Kay's is going to jump on board as well over the course of the next couple of weeks. So we think that having this Journey type look in the flyer is important, and you're going to have a lot of success selling it. Again, as you move into that period where men start to shop, December 8th, December 10th, December 12th. Then if we move towards the middle, back towards the middle of the page, you'll see this tennis bracelet. When Amit and I were in Seeps in India, again, for the first 10 days of March, 5 of the site holders we saw started their presentations to us with a new mounting. It happens to be a mounting that's built by the same company, a Japanese company called Crossfor, that originally got the patent on the vibrating diamond mounting, the mounting that we call Rhythm of Love. I know Yohei pretty well. Yohei Dubai is the nephew, the uncle actually owns the place, but Yohei is becoming more and more the face of the company. They are tremendous engineers. And the reason this piece is important is they were able to get a global patent on a new way of manufacturing tennis bracelet mountings in machines that allows the mounting to be considerably lighter than normal. Imagine, for example, being able to do around a 1 carat or a carat and a third mounting and have it only weigh 1.7 grams. It is a really cool thing. And since 5 of the site holders led off in their presentations to us with this mounting, it seemed to me that I was just imagining what their presentations were probably like with the majors in the United States. I am sure that they are all excited about this. They love the fact that they can hit a lower price point on a total weight. And again, the advantage of the machine-made mounting is it's incredibly tough, much tougher than those that are assembled by hand. So they know it's something that they can safely sell. So anyway, I chose to put this, the Cross 4 bracelet mounting on the front cover of our flyer. And even though it's in 14 karat, we've got a great look here around 1.33 carat total weight bracelet for $12.99. Then finally, if you come down to the bottom, item 1K is one of these new, what the industry is calling a bold gold look. You know, for really the past 20 years, gold has been the way you held the diamonds, but the diamonds have been the story. I think what you're now going to be seeing more and more is that the gold is going to be the story with a little bit of a diamond accent. And I think this piece tells that story in a really good way. And even though gold is now somewhere, you know, it's certainly north of 1850 an ounce, and it's been up over 2,000 over the course of the last month, we're able to hit this $699 price point with a 14 karat piece that's got a lot of look for the money. Then if you move over to item 1M, this is one of these playful, lots of concentric circle type pieces with a central clasping point that's got diamonds. It's a terrific look. You will see as we go into the flyer, there's a matching earring, or earrings that are kind of sort of matching in the same kind of a look. So when I started talking about the front page, I was talking about how important it is that we put the right stuff in here so that it will entice the consumer to go inside the book. And I hope you'll agree that all of these pieces viewed collectively represent exactly that kind of first page look that we really want to get. So let's go into page 2. Page 2 consists of items that were manufactured using the true reflection mounting. If you've been in the jewelry industry for a while, then you are familiar with these, what are called illusion heads. And, you know, back when I was a kid, they were using illusion heads, but they were using them in a different way. They were actually taking a great big piece of metal, putting a little tiny diamond in the middle, and somehow hoping that that made the entire piece of metal look like diamond. Well, of course it didn't, but, and I always thought they looked kind of crappy, sort of Kmart-ish, but that's the way illusion plate pieces were made, until a key moment about 7 years ago, when Rosie Blue, one of the largest site holders, chose to do a memo test in Zales, where instead of using a great big metal plate with a little tiny diamond, the metal plate was only 1/2 millimeter bigger around than the diamonds in a diamond stud unit. And they went into a select group of stores and they completely annihilated the diamond studs that did not have the plate. I think for 2 reasons. One is the diamonds appeared to be larger to the naked eye. And so the consumer who was buying them as a gift, or women who were buying them for self-purchase, just thought, hey, for the same price, why not go with a bigger look? But secondly, because of the way diamonds are constructed, the plate almost emulated the girdle of the diamond. So it didn't just make it look bigger, it made it just not the top look bigger, made the entire stone appear to be larger. So of course, I was watching this, I heard about this, the site holders started trying to sell us this. And we were fortunate in that we came across a specific mounting that also raises the diamond up higher above the illusion plate. So this tends to make this appearance that the plate is actually the girdle even more manifest, more pronounced. So we think of all of the different mounting styles. This particular illusion plate, which I also registered the name True Reflections for, gave the best look. So you see at the top some bridal pieces at the $19.99 price point, and these have been smoking hot for us all over the place. The item 2E, if you look at the Edge Retail Academy Key Performance Indicator reports, of the top 15 selling SKUs over the last 12 months, 2 of them are within this diamond stud program that we have in True Reflection. We also have halo earrings and a halo pendant. We've got multiple sizes of a standard tennis bracelet as well as of a halo bracelet. We've also now got really the cross executed beautifully with relatively small total weights. It has a huge, huge look. Then here you've got a larger size to that original grouping, the half-carat total weights at $19.99. These bring the retail up to $39.99, and they look gorgeous. And then finally, both a circular as well as an oval version of inside-out hoops, all using the True Reflections mounting. A very important category, and that's why I put it on page 2. On page 3, you have the rest of what we refer to as the Love's Crossing connection or collection. The idea behind Love's Crossing is that there is an intersecting point that is representative of the relationship between these two people. All of the pieces on the top emulate that double heart design. The rest of the pieces on the page represent two planes where you have one plane coming in, say, in this direction, and the other plane in this direction. That point of intersection, again, is part of the story behind Love's Crossing. And again, this is a general look that's being promoted in the marketplace. And if you look at the price ones, we have a lot of items here that are $4.99 and down that should be extremely good sellers as we rotate into the Christmas cycle. Oh, and 3C, the sterling silver version of the Love's Crossing pendant, I think was the #5 seller last year at Christmas on the Edge Retail Academy list. So we have every reason to believe that these pieces are going to sell like crazy. Okay, now we move into a grouping that I'm generally calling Selfie Station. We couldn't register the name, but we thought it made sense. And it actually, it's a reflection of a mistake that I've been making in merchandising earrings. I have, for the longest time, thought of earrings as being something that goes with a pendant. And I have to admit, I was totally wrong. Earrings actually don't really have anything to do with going with a pendant. Earrings need to be fun. Earrings, in fact, have become more and more important because of the introduction of cell phones with great cameras. As women, particularly younger women, started taking selfies, they started wanting more and more interesting fashion earrings. And that's really the whole idea behind Selfie Station. In fact, you're going to see us next year actually developing a display for these kinds of earrings that are fun, they have movement, there's some element to them that's cool. If you look in the upper quarter of this page, it's all about celestial. Celestial things have been selling extremely well for the last 3 years. So hearts, stars, moons, really, really important segment. But look at the price points, $4.99, $5.99. These aren't super expensive, but they would represent an excellent Christmas gift. If you then move across, we've got multiple shapes here. Again, $7.99, $4.99, $5.99. These are not price points that would break the bank. And then these terrific inline graduated pieces. This is a great looking earring at $4.99. Come down to the lower left. You know, Huggies have been kind of in and out over the course of the last 15 years. They seem to be very in right now. This particular look, either the double row straight up and down or the crisscross single row, we did extremely well with these last year. We have every reason to believe they'll continue to be strong this year. Then these open silhouettes that dangle and show some motion. I mean, that's a great look. And again, this is kind of in the same vein as that pendant that's on the front. We've got multiple concentric circles that are joined in multiple ways, and they have the capacity to move. Over here, 4Q, these are great hoops coming in 3 different total weights in gold. A fantastic look. And finally, the knots here, which I've been seeing every place over the course of the last 6 months. This will be an important trend line for the next several years too. Okay, moving on to the next page. Most of this page is what we refer to as signature value. These are diamond pieces that for one reason or another, we've been able to merchandise in such a way as to hit great value. Now, A, B, and C are not part of the signature value collection. They represent a good value, but their story is really more about fashion. But there wasn't any place else I could put them, so I put them here. The signature value stuff starts here with the core basic heart shape, the circle shape, and the pear shape in 3 different total weights, quarter, half, and 1 carat total weight. Of course, we're showing in this version of the flyer the $2.99 price point for the quarter carat total weight. That's a great look. Then down here is an extremely important piece. 5M is a special series of tennis bracelets where both because of the mounting as well as because of the specific diamonds, we're hitting incredibly strong price points. In fact, 5M in a 5 carat total weight is right now about the #5 producing gross profit piece in the 1,100 stores whose sales are tracked by the Edge Retail Academy. The 5 carat in particular is just magical at $49.99. But we're using the same diamonds to do the total weights with this bracelet as with the inside out hoops in both the round and the oval shape. And then finally, this last year, we went ahead and did a Riviera necklace using the same goods. It's got a great flow. It's got a great look. In fact, for my wife's anniversary last September, I got her one of these Rivieras. I just think it's a fantastic look. If you come down here, 5N, remember on the front cover, those two pieces that I mentioned that were mounted with diamonds that we're calling irresistible value. Here's a 1 carat total weight, gold heart, double row, retailing at $7.99. The diamonds are extraordinarily attractive. And again, it's because we bought an excess of these diamonds back when the Chinese were killing their orders, and we were able to buy them at 35% below market. Same thing with this ring, same thing with this cluster 5Q, and also this modified 3-stone look. So what we're really trying to do here is give you values that your local competitors can't match because they didn't have a supplier that was buying these diamonds at way below normal prices during the depths of the COVID beginning back in March. So anyway, signature value, very important stuff. Moving on, I identified baguettes as being really important 3 years ago. And this basic look, it's, with 4 diamonds in the corners and then 4 baguettes and either 1 or 3 baguettes going across inside a frame continues to be a really strong and important SKU. In fact, the K's customer appreciation event that they just held a week and a half ago, guess what the look was? This was the look that they were featuring. Also, you've been seeing ads for Neil Lane Bridal for at least 6 years. But last year, they launched something called Neil Lane Fashion. Guess what the cornerstone piece was within Neil Lane Fashion? It was this. I don't think Neil Lane actually designed that. but this was a cornerstone look inside that. Also, the use of baguettes in multiple applications. Here's a fashion piece, kind of a cigar ring that's got symmetry. Here is another SKU that did extremely well last year. And then finally, this SKU. And this is not dissimilar to a piece that the Diamond Council folks are running, speaking to the fact that there's nothing like a real diamond. So I knew that was a look they'd be featuring, and I wanted us to hit it too. And this necklace is absolutely stunning. Once again, using multiple different diamond shapes, just a really awesome look. Over here, we've got the Diamonds by the Yard. Remember that about 4 years ago, Elsa Peretti launched a new Diamonds by the Yard necklace at Tiffany. We jumped on that pretty hard. We thought that it would be an important SKU, and it certainly has been. And again, because we were hitting the right price points, half carat total weight at $4.99, a 1 carat total weight at $9.99, and we were able to come in with the bracelets. And you can see here that we chose to feature this in yellow just to remind people that it's available both ways. Those are important. And then I mentioned on the front cover the round clusters, but with an oval look using the Starbright mounting. Here you see the entire Starbright collection, which is itself an evolution of something that we started with 4 years ago, which was called Uno. Just as our competitor who is selling a similar product originally had a higher value, but therefore more expensive item, and changed it by making the diamonds in the interior of their piece smaller. We went the same way. We were able to decontent the piece, but still retain the same look. These pieces have sold extremely well, and I would certainly have this as something that I would be recommending to customers based on where their budget is. So moving on to the next page. I mentioned when I was talking about that 3-row ring on the front, I think there's going to be a real opportunity this Christmas to capitalize on the fact that a lot of affluent couples who are married did not spend money going to the Airbnb this year in Europe because nobody could go anywhere this past year because of COVID. So these are the kinds of pieces. This 7A just executed unbelievably well. It happens to be a 1 carat total weight, although it's also available in a 1.5 carat and a 2. But for $2,000, it's one of the most impressive rings that you could possibly have in your store. This item 7D along with 7R and 7S represent evolutions of that 3-row band look. And then these bands that are a mix of baguettes with rounds have been incredibly popular. And again, from $19.99 to $24.99 to $39.99, amazing looks. Here we've got a new scallop bezel set look in inside outs. And then this pave ring was incredibly effective last year. Probably the highest volume piece that we have ever had at a $4,000 retail price point. And you can expect to see that for a few more years, I think. And then this piece was our first shot at the bold gold look last year. Those of you who ran our flyer last year will remember that was a front cover piece. I certainly didn't want to lose track of that for this year. Then when you move down, you've got these two, what I think you would consider to be engagement rings with built-in wedding bands. Just stunning looks at a $12.99 price point. And then finally, a wrap, as well as these three pieces that have a crown type look that women are starting to use as one side of supporting the look of an engagement ring. Some people call it a nesting ring. We're seeing more and more of these kinds of looks out in the marketplace. So we wanted to be featuring that in the flyer as well. Okay, now moving on, we get into some nice fashion, but again, not expensive stuff. I bring particularly to your attention item 8A. This look is an interesting story. You may not be aware of this, but at some point a couple of years ago, a symbol of the resistance to President Trump became either a safety pin or a paperclip, I guess, depending on where you were and who you were talking to. And this hit the Hollywood boutiques and started a styling evolution. I think at this point, a lot of people don't remember that that's how that started. But now you've got this piece 8A that I will predict for you will end up being one of the top selling SKUs in the entire assortment. One thing that's nice is the top actually allows the two pieces, both the metal bar as well as the diamond bar, to move. And so it's got motion, it's got all the characteristics of something that's going to sell like crazy. And you're going to see a lot of stuff like this on Pinterest. We're seeing it on Instagram. Expect that to be important. 8B is cool because last year at the, Vicenza happens in January. And so it occurred before COVID got its start. So the Vicenza Fair, this was one of the hot looks there, being able to show a heart shape or an evolved shape from the side. So I included that as well. Here's another Huggy. I love this layered look with the heart with a sideways cross on the bottom. So all of those are cool. I think they're going to sell like crazy. This is carryover actually for the last 2 years because of the $2.99 price point. It's just a great look. It's an evolved circle, very cool. This is extremely similar to two major leading fashion lines. We happen to be at a lower price point because we don't have that extra cachet built in of a high-end fashion designer, but these are really cute looks that ought to sell. Down here, 8K and 8M. Again, these are, in fact, also 8N, sorry about that. These are also inspired by one of the main leading fashion companies in the jewelry business. We're just at a considerably lower price point, but gorgeous pieces. 8K and 8M sold incredibly well last year. 8N is that look actually from the same factory where I'd asked them to evolve it using baguettes that are in line, and that's a super look. We have seen for the last year this combination of a row of diamonds, either straight or graduated with the use of beads. So here you've got an infinity sign as well as an evolution of a pear shape. That's pretty cool. Here's another nesting ring. This is just a gorgeous little leaf type piece that kind of looks to me like an evolved form maybe of a Hansa, but it's just a really cute look. Here's a 3-stone piece that we did extremely well with last year, a matchstick. And then finally, stuff that has motion is selling. Stuff that's fun is selling. This actually came about as a result of a design series that I asked one of my teams to do in earrings. But I liked the pendant so much, I thought it'd be fun to have some stuff that moved around. I think that's a fun piece that ought to sell. Okay, now we move into the balance of the signature fashion collection. Again, going back to Vicenza. We started to see tricolor all over the place. I actually wasn't at Vicenza this last year, but one of my teams was. And they have hidden cameras and all this stuff. They did a great job of industrial espionage. You would not believe the information that we were able to cull. I do look forward to hitting Vicenza this coming year. Because again, I don't think Hong Kong is going to happen. We'll see. Maybe Vicenza has been rescheduled for late March. We'll see if the vaccines are in place so we can do that. In the meantime, about 18 months ago, Tiffany first and then subsequently Van Cleef & Arpels both launched versions of flowers. We did a flower version last year that sold pretty well, but I had again challenged my teams to even do better. And I just thought this particular look is fantastic. And again, the ring is $3.99, the pendant's $3.99, the earrings are $5.99. They have many of the visual characteristics that we were looking for, a really cool look. Here is infinities swirling around an asymmetrical double row line. That's hot out there. That was all over Vicenza. Remember, I was mentioning on the front cover, you had that cross 4 mounting that's now allowing the site holders to make tennis bracelets hitting lower price points. This is actually a solid version of that cross 4 mounting. So you've got a curved bar, a regular bar, and a matchstick at a $6.99 price point. Again, I think that's potentially important. That's in all of our flyer programs this year. That I think this is going to be a key part of what we're selling. Down here, you have more of the 3-row, 3-color pieces, again, inspired by Vicenza. And open links like this have become very important. So it was nice to have a piece like that in here. And again, this is kind of an evolution of a double crown that we're seeing around the marketplace, and wanted to have something like this, again, at a $3.99 price point. Here's an oval version of that paperclip looking piece that I mentioned on the prior page. That's important. And just other styles here that have tremendous success, potential for success. So that's the spread of page 8 and page 9 in signature fashion. On page 10, we move into these delicate 14 karat yellow gold generally, although we've also got some pink here, pieces. I mean, everything on this page is very much on trend. I think that these pieces that have even though they're dainty and they're delicate, they have a bold gold element, are likely to lead the way. These doubles of shapes where one of the versions of the shape is all metal, the other version is a line of diamond silhouette. That's great. I mean, everything here looks very strong to me. And again, hitting the half circle and the half pear shape at a $2.99 price point looks like a winning combination. On this side, we've got more of that bold gold look. And you should know, by the way, we did not do any retouching to the gold color here. These just came through with a fabulous gold look. Just very buttery, almost exotic, beautiful pieces there. A design that we were working on for over a year, and it just executed incredibly nicely. Here you have an interesting higher fashion piece using a marquee. You're probably going to start seeing marquees over the course of the next 12 months as well, becoming more and more important. You'll see more marquee pieces from us in next year's flyers. But you've got the single row, the double row, the triple row here in gold. Here I've got 2 leftovers from the 2-stone era. They just keep selling, and I can't drop them out. And I had nowhere else in the flyer to put them, so I put them here. Incredible sellers in sterling silver at $99. There's no way to let those go. This is a new 27-stone cluster look that came out of the Vicenza Fair. I saw it an awful lot of times. I saw it so many times that I thought we would be remiss if we didn't have a representation of that in here, and we'll see how it sells. And then multiple versions of crosses. And this 11R, this is a new execution in yellow gold in all the price points that I think is going to be extremely important. Moving on, you know, Rhythm of Love, to a very large extent, helped us almost double our customer base. We were the first company to jump on it. Again, I was in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong show, I guess, 8 years ago now, and saw it for the first time. Cross4 had just gotten the global patent. And so not only did I see it at their booth, I then noticed 2 of the main site holders with 600-piece lines trying to sell it to me. So I knew that they were on it. I also was lucky and connected with the company that ended up selling it to K's. So I got an advanced look at what those styles were going to look like. And, you know, we launched an 18-piece assortment that year in April at the what was then the Chicago show, and the rest is history. You should know this stuff hasn't stopped selling. Many stores have stopped carrying as much breadth in it because they got tired of it. But the reality is we have customers like Albert's who they have 2 6-foot showcases. Their sales in this category have not gone down at all. And you should now know that starting about a month ago, K's has rebranded what they were calling Diamonds in Rhythm as Unstoppable Love. You can expect to see more advertising from them of this category. I can tell you that my product development folks are working overtime, developing new styles in this for next year because of that case move. So you can expect us to have, I mean, the number one selling piece of jewelry in the last decade on the Edge Retail Academy charts was this. It's one of the few pieces where I actually know what the style number is. That love knot piece with the cluster center just sells and sells and sells. Also, this heart with the created ruby, and actually it comes with created birthstones for all 12 months. Just incredibly good sellers. And now we've also got a Love's Crossing piece with a cluster on the inside with the cross form mounting. Actually, there are these two styles that we already had in the pipeline as new, so I chose to put them in as well. I'll also just mention these pearls. They're insane. I mean, in the month of December, we will have over 1,000 reorders for each of those pieces. I know it's only a $29 piece, but I'm willing to bet that for many, many of the customers who come into your store to buy this, it's probably the first time they've ever been in your store. And hopefully, if they have a good experience, they can turn into a lifetime customer. Now we go into a solid page of bold gold looks. These pieces pretty much speak for themselves. I will mention in this upper right-hand corner, signet rings are becoming more and more important. We're seeing them being advertised heavily in Europe right now. I think that you are likely to see that carry over into the States. And we've already seen them being advertised in the boutiques on the West Coast. So it's probably only a matter of time before we start to see this. They are a nice evolution on those kind of old clunky signet rings from 30 years ago. So let's hope that that becomes important. It would be great as a new category. Let's see, moving on. Now we come to the mixables page, where you will notice we've found a different way of showing these pieces. We've launched some new SKUs. We now have an entry-level price point here of $149 with the single diamond pieces. We've also got the chevron pieces up here. Of course, these are the 4 halo bracelets that it seems like no matter how many we stock, we have trouble keeping in stock when we come late. Those last few days of Christmas, it's really, really hard to actually still have some of these. You will notice this new heart cluster look executed extremely well. You can expect that to be on the front of the Valentine's flyer. And over here, we've seen so much action in initial rings that I wanted to get us into this category, but I wanted it to be at a price. And it's funny, when it came down to which letters do we show, we certainly don't want to devote an entire page to showing 26 letters. Also, I should tell you that 95% of the sales in this category come from 10 letters. So you don't have to stock the whole thing anyway. We're stocking them all so that you can have access. But, I ended up picking the G, the O, and the T. It happens that those are the letters of Gems One Trading. Also, if you're a fan, those are the letters of Game of Thrones. And I thought it might be kind of cool to start #GotInitials using the G, the O, and the T. So that's why we chose to use those 3 specifics. Let me remind you that if you look at this grouping 14T, that's over $1 million category for us every year. And I think a significant number of these pieces are ordered as birthstones. Over and over again, I'll see special orders for, let's say, a citrine, a garnet, and a peridot, all size 9. That's not because those 3 colors go together. It's because those are the birthstones of her 3 kids. So in a very real way, this is becoming the new mother's ring in a far more tasteful look than what we used to see. Moving on to page 15, here in the upper right-hand corner, I've got Rhythm of Love Studio. These pieces sold incredibly well. In fact, last year, 15K, I know we ended up selling almost 1,000 pieces of that one unit. It's a very big look for small bucks, sterling silver with CZs. They all have that Rhythm of Love mounting, and it's a super category if you want to have something that doesn't look dinky at 99 bucks. The rest of what's on this page is, with the exception of this earring and pendant and the bracelet down here, these are all new pieces. We are starting the process. In fact, a year ago, I was actively involved in really studying the whole travel jewelry side of things. We're seeing more and more with companies like Lafon, significant sell-through rates in our customer stores. And also, it can be a very margin-friendly category. In sterling silver, using CZs, but still, it doesn't have to be a $29 item or a $49 item. you can elevate the price point as long as it's really well made and really, really pretty. These pieces are all actually made in a factory in, of all places, Vietnam, um, by a factory that normally makes gold. And so their mounting, their craftsmanship, every element of what they do, if you study these pieces, they're made the way gold jewelry is made. I mean, it's really, really nice stuff. We're very proud to sell it. We've developed displays. You will see us getting more and more into this. So this is our first launch in the category. This little heart bracelet at $99 is simply something that we, again, have a great deal of difficulty keeping in stock. It doesn't matter how many hundred we have. When the flyers hit, these things explode. So I thought that fit in the same category. And finally, we get to the back page. So moving across, you've got a new entry-level price in stackables. You've got this piece. I will confess it didn't shoot as well as it actually looks. It is really big and stunning and floral and just gorgeous with a nice big footprint at a $199 price point. The oval shape is likely to sell. This is the Van Cleef and Arpels clover look that's all over the place right now, with a black onyx center, as well as here is an oval with a black onyx center. We're seeing more and more of this because Tiffany chose to go in this direction, not just with onyx, but also with mother of pearl and with ceramics. This necklace at $199 is a fantastic choker look. Moving over here, it's funny, this heart is something that I first replicated from a chain store, I think, in about 1990. And over the course of time, it's been decontented and decontented. In those days, you could actually hit a $99 price point at retail with a quarter carat of diamonds for $99. But, that was 30 years ago. Gold has changed, diamonds have changed, everything's changed. So today, it's a reflector plate piece, but to the naked eye, it looks fantastic. And it is consistently one of the top selling SKUs that we have in each year's flyer. And I keep putting it on the back page because it keeps selling by the thousands. Moving down 16J, this is another evolution of that double row. I showed you the two double row pieces on the inside, as well as a new one that had baguettes. Well, here is us being able to hit a slightly lower price point. Up here, you've got the two silhouettes, the round and the heart with mother of pearl centers. You've got the entry-level price point for Love's Crossing in sterling silver, as well as for Love's Crossing in gold. 2 years ago, Anuj talked me into putting the diamond studs on the back cover, and boy, was he right about that. Again, half-carat total weight diamond studs have historically been the top dollar producing SKU in catalogs like this for decades, but they've got to be at the right price point. Now, at $399, this may not be the quality of diamond that every customer who walks in your store wants to buy, but they don't look half bad. And I can't tell them what the quality is. I can only tell them it's a half-carat total weight at $399. Once they're in your hands, then you can take them to a variety of diamond studs, but you will not sell them 100% of the time if they don't walk in the door. So the purpose of this diamond stud grouping on the back is to get this customer in the store. Once they're in your hands, I'm sure you're going to help them either buy the item that they came in from off the flyer, or buy a different pair of diamonds that you've got in the store that may be a higher grade. And finally, you've got this little infinity bracelet at $49. And again, last year, even though we have so many SKUs in these flyers, on December the 23rd, we were out of 8 of them. This is one of the ones we were out of. I think we started that December with 800 pieces of this on the shelf. And it just, the reorders started first onesies, twosies, then threes. Then some of you were reordering 6s, and some of you were reordering 12s. It's just one of those pieces that just sells and sells and sells. So anyway, that's your look at the Christmas flyer, the 16-page. As I said at the outset, this is not the only version of the 16 that we do. We did a lot of different versions, different kinds of pricing versions, also different custom versions. I apologize if I didn't go through the exact version that you had, but this represented the version that we did the most of. So anyway, I hope you have a fantastic time selling this jewelry. Recognize that we've timed the flyers to hit the homes on December 10th and the 11th, because we know that's when men start to shop. That gives us the highest possible response rate. And I hope you have a terrific Christmas, and I hope you enjoy selling these pieces, and I look forward to showing you the Valentine's flyer when we get into January. So have a great day.